Hi everyone, and thanks for being with me. Today I'm going to try and answer one of the most, I think, confounding questions that I've ever experienced. And that is America the greatest nation on earth? Now, in my view, no, the United States of America is not the greatest nation on earth. So why do so many Americans believe that they are? The belief is deeply rooted in a combination of historical, cultural, economic, and political factors. This falsehood has been cultivated over the need to view their experiment as a success. The rise of Donald Trump and the potential for another term would be the strongest indicator that the experiment has failed. While not universally held, this conviction can be attributed to several key elements, including historical achievements, ideological foundations, economic success, military power, and cultural influence. One of the most important reasons why many Americans believe the US is the greatest nation on earth stems from its founding principles. The United States was established on ideals of liberty, democracy, and equality, enshrined in documents like the Declaration of Independence and, of course, the Constitution. These ideals created a national mythology that America is a unique experiment in freedom. The Revolutionary War victory against the British and the subsequent development of a democratic republic was seen as triumphs of self-government over tyranny, cementing the idea of America exceptionalism. They were not the only people to fight off British imperialism, though, remember. Consider the Chinese and Indians. This belief is also tied to pivotal moments in US history, such as the defeat of Nazi Germany and the Imperial Japan in World War II, which elevated America's global standing. The US was portrayed as a champion of freedom and democracy, protecting the world from authoritarian regimes and oppressive ideologies, primarily to protect its own self-interests, not necessarily the interests of others. America's economic success is another factor contributing to the belief in its greatness. The United States has long been a global economy powerhouse, especially following the Industrial Revolution and the expansion of its capitalist economy. As a country that developed a massive industrial base, led in technological innovation and gave rise to influential corporations, the US became synonymous with economic opportunity. The, and I quote, American dream, end quote, has been a powerful concept, emphasising upward mobility and personal success. The idea that anyone can achieve success through hard work, regardless of their background, is an integral part of American identity. Let us not forget that the disparity between the wealthy and the poor is increasing. Major technological achievements such as the moon landing in 1969 further reinforce the narrative that the US is a leader in science, exploration, and human progress. The US maintains one of the most powerful and advanced militaries in the world, which has played a central role in global geopolitics since the 20th century. After World War II, America emerged as a superpower, countering Soviet influence during the Cold War and promoting democratic values around the world. The belief in America's greatness is often tied to the perception that it serves as a protector of global stability and peace. Military interventions such as in Korea, Vietnam, and more recently in Iraq and Afghanistan have been justified under the banner of spreading democracy and maintaining global order.
I think the Vietnam War drove a stake right into the heart of America. Unfortunately, we've never moved really far away from that, and we never recovered.
Though controversial, these actions contribute to the perception that the US holds a unique responsibility on the world stage. American culture, through its entertainment industry, media, and popular culture, has a global reach also that amplifies its perceived greatness. This soft power spreads America's ideals and values around the world, fostering a belief that American culture sets trends and standards for modernity. Patriotism and national pride play a significant role in perpetuating the belief in America's greatness. US education, politics, and media often emphasise the nation's achievements and its role as a global leader. Many Americans, but not all, grow up with the sense of pride in their country's history and values, which can shape their worldview. The United States' sense of self-importance is a myth. Critics argue that despite the country's historical, economic and cultural influence, numerous issues in areas such as healthcare, education, social inequity and foreign policy to undermine this claim. By examining these factors, it becomes evident that the United States has many shortcomings that can contradict the idea of being the greatest nation. One of the most glaring criticisms of the United States is its healthcare system.
What we've seen over time is that the costs of healthcare have gone up, but outcomes have also improved. So if we take some measure, and the measure that I like to use is life expectancy at age 40, and then I look on the other axis at the cost of healthcare per person. And what you find is, if you look back to 1976,
all of these countries, the US, Germany, Canada, look similar in terms of what share of GDP goes to healthcare.
And they are all people are living about 35 years after age 40. Okay.
Fast forward 20 years, and the US is spending a lot more of its GDP on healthcare, and its life expectancy increases have not kept up with the life expectancy increases in other countries.
The US spends more on healthcare per capita than any other country, yet it ranks poorly in health outcomes compared to other developed nations. Millions of Americans lack access to affordable health care, and the system is deeply fragmented, with private insurance often tied to employment. In contrast, many other wealthy nations offer universal health care that provides better outcomes at a lower cost. The high rates of medical debt and the exorbitant cost of prescription drugs further highlight the disparities in healthcare, making it clear that the US lags behind in providing basic health security for its citizens. The United States faces significant issues of inequality, particularly in terms of income, wealth, and racial disparities. While the country is home to some of the world's wealthiest individuals and corporations, it also has one of the highest rates of income inequality among developed nations. Wealth is concentrated in the hands of a few, while millions of Americans struggle with poverty, homelessness, and job insecurity. Racial inequality, particularly affecting Black and Indigenous communities, persists across various sectors, including housing, education, employment, and the criminal justice system. The Black Lives Matter movement and widespread protest against police brutality and systemic racism have highlighted how for the US still has to go on achieving social justice and true equality for all its citizens. The US education system, once a global leader, has been criticised for its uneven equality. While high costs and inequality access, public education in America is often underfunded, particularly in low-income areas, leading to disparities in the quality of schooling based on socioeconomic status. In higher education, the skyrocketing costs of college tuition have led to student debt crisis, with millions of graduates burdened by loans. The country consistently ranks below many other nations in metrics such as literacy, math, and science proficiency, further indicating that its educational system is not the best in the world. While the United States has historically played a dominant role in global politics, its foreign policy has often been a source of contention. The country's involvement in wars in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan, for example, had led to widespread criticism for causing instability, civilian casualties, and long-term negative consequences for the regions involved. Many view the US as an aggressor in global affairs, prioritising the strategic interests over the well-being of other nations. Additionally, the US is often criticised for its inconsistent approach to human rights, supporting authoritarian regimes when convenient, and failing to lead on critical global issues such as climate change. This has tarnished its reputation as a moral leader, with many questioning its commitment to democracy and justice on the international stage. In recent years, political polarisation has grown dramatically in the United States, leading to government gridlock and dysfunction. The inability of Congress to pass meaningful legislation on critical issues such as immigration reform, healthcare and climate change has hampered progress. The 2021 Capitol insurrection, in which supporters of the then President Donald Trump attempted to overturn the results of the presidential election, highlighted the fragility of American democracy and raised concerns about the country's political stability. The United States is not the greatest nation on earth. There is no singular matrix to identify a great nation. One thing is certain: no matter what matrix you may choose to use, the US would not be the greatest nation.